Hey, it's Jared with State of Tech. New iMacs are coming and they look really nice. Should you buy one? We're going to talk about that in this video. So Apple announced the new iMacs on their April 20th, 2021 event. They are really sleek looking machines. They're super thin. They're so minimal. Of course, the colors are vibrant and all that stuff. Kind of that matte finish looks very much like an iPhone 12, maybe an iPad Air or something like that, one of those devices that come in that color. So of course you can choose one that best fits the aesthetics of your space, the color that best represents your liking. I mean, they have something for everybody there. But is it a device worth purchasing? So the specs that are coming out for these new M1 Macs are pretty consistent across the board. Last year, they announced the MacBook Pro 13-inch with the M1 chip, the MacBook Air with the M1 chip, and of course then the Mac Mini as well. I, at the time, had a MacBook Pro 16-inch, i9, whatever core, 64 gigs of RAM, the fully spec'd out model, but with the 2 terabyte hard drive, not the 4 terabyte. That was a $4,400, around a $4,400 laptop. And it was a beast until these new M1 chips came out and I started using Final Cut and some other applications on these M1 chip Macs and was able to achieve the same performance on an M1 Mac that cost me maybe $1,300 or less. And I sold my MacBook Pro 16-inch earlier this year, thankfully being able to, sell it for a decent price because it's still a current model that's being sold. But with the iMac is now available with M1, and it has the same specs that are available on, say, like a 13-inch MacBook Pro. These are Apple's entry-level specs right now. But are these entry-level specs good enough for most of us? I say that they are, and I led with the fact that I got rid of my high-end, expensive MacBook Pro because I didn't need that MacBook Pro anymore. When I would edit video, that MacBook Pro's fans would spin up, it would, make all this noise, it would work hard, and it would get that work done. But my MacBook Pro 13-inch with the M1 chip hardly ever makes any noise, even when I'm messing with video or exporting a whole bunch of images from Lightroom or something like that. So this new iMac 24-inch is definitely going to be more powerful than most of the previous iMacs. Now, I don't remember seeing any crazy comparisons as far as performance. They of course mentioned how much performance it has over competitors and stuff like that. I've seen some things listed online, but should you wait or should you buy an iMac now? Well, the iMac 24-inch is the current version that is available. The iMac 27-inch is still the version that is on the old architecture, the old CPU architecture. I'm a firm believer that Apple is positioning all of their products into kind of a 3-tier pricing. You've got the iPhone 12, you've got the iPhone 12 Pro, you've got the iPhone 12 Pro Max. You've got, in the realm of the iPad, I'm forgetting all of the names of the iPads off the top of my head, but you have the iPad Air, and the iPad Pro. So you have 3 different levels, 3 different options there. With the Mac, as far as desktops go, you've got a Mac Mini, you've got an iMac, you've got an iMac 27-inch. So the iMac 24-inch is the one that just came out. So I am a firm believer that the higher end products are going to be like a Pro or a 27-inch. I mean, right now the iMac 24 is very much like the entry-level Mac. But I think it is more than powerful enough and capable of doing most things for most people. If you're editing the occasional video, this new iMac is going to be plenty powerful for you. If you are browsing the web, utilizing most basic applications on your computer, this iMac is going to be plenty powerful for most people that are out there. And of course, there are different, slightly different spec options and you probably don't even need to go with the higher end model. So just like the MacBook Air, there's an 8-core CPU, 7-core GPU model, and then there's 8-core GPU, 8-core CPU models as well. And those span the price range of $1299 on up to $1699 before customizing them, if there are going to be any options for customization, which I think there will be, because right now all they have available is an 8 gig option as far as RAM goes. And so we'll see what happens when you're able to actually select and customize these items once ordering becomes available on April 30th. So with these different versions, there's configurable to 16 gigabytes of unified memory, so we'll see what the cost is there. Personally, I have the M1 Max with the 16 gigabytes of memory. I felt that 8 probably wasn't going to be enough for doing a little bit of more heavier lifting. If you're the type of person who typically has 5 or 6 or 10 tabs opened in your web browser, you've got your email opened, and maybe even a couple of other things going on, you're definitely going to want to go with that 16 gigabyte option. But I think that's going to be plenty for most people. Well, how I'm using my Mac Mini right now, a Mac Mini, which has the 8 core and the 8-core GPU, so the 8 cores and then the 16 gigabytes of RAM, I will have sometimes as much as 12 browser tabs opened. I'll have my email application opened. I have Microsoft Teams opened. I have Discord open. I have my calendar open, and maybe even 2 or 3 other applications going. Sometimes I open Photoshop for a few minutes to work on a small project and then get out of Photoshop, and everything just runs great. And I very rarely run into performance issues. So I think that you're going to be totally fine on an iMac. However, just like there's going to be a higher-end MacBook Pro later on this year, probably in the fall, there will most likely be an iMac with better specs. That M1X chip is what likely they will come out with, and it will have more performance, and it will be their Pro level for now M1 chip. So if right now you need a computer and one of these iMacs look appealing to you, you're going to be just fine. I mean, they only have the silver option. Otherwise, the rest of them are vibrant colors. I think that the iMac 27-inch or the iMac Pro or the 24 Pro, or however they're going to name these things as they move forward, will have the space gray and probably some more darker color options, just like the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max comes in darker color options, where the iPhone 12 are more vibrant colors. I think that Apple is really trying to unify their product line and put them into these 3 different tiers of entry-level products, very colorful and vibrant, probably the products that they're going to sell the most of. They've got the middle-of-the-line product, which is maybe a little bit higher specs, but definitely not like top of the line, maybe even in a few different color options that aren't available in the lower level. And then, of course, on the high end, you have the Pro, which will probably come in the darker colors, the colors that would be more appealing to me, also with the specs that would be more appealing to me. So, with that said, I think for most people, the current version of the iMac 24 with the M1 chip is going to be a fantastic upgrade and a powerful machine that will take you into the next several years. However, if you want something that's going to be good for a little bit more heavy lifting, then you'll probably want to wait until the fall of this year, which is when those products will likely become available and start shipping. They'll most likely announce many of them and talk about them at WWDC, which is usually in early summer, like June-ish, somewhere right in there, maybe even late May, depending. I don't know what the date is. They may have already announced it for all I know. But if you're fine waiting a month or two to see what Apple has coming out next, I would hold off. If you are ready to go, and especially if you want an iMac that comes in a vibrant color, you can grab one of these, because I doubt that the higher end versions of the iMac are going to come in vibrant colors like these. They're probably going to come in darker colors, just like the iPhone 12 Pro Max does, and also the iPad Pro that was just announced, also with M1 features built in. I just also put together a video on my thoughts on the iPad Pro, the new version that's being announced just yesterday, or that was just announced, and I believe that desktop apps are coming to it. So if you want to hear my thoughts on that, definitely check out that video. But that's going to do it for today. Give it a thumbs up here on the video. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. Click on that subscribe button if you want to be notified when I put out new videos. I'll definitely be covering these products as they become available, and I can talk more about them and share more of the specs and the performance and real life applications as we get our hands on them. But that's going to do it for today. Thanks so much, and hope to see you back here soon.